Game 3 of the series, CaptainSPrice defending King against Challenger Cheese. CaptainSPrice was the victory point leader of this series by a tiny margin. 405 victory points to 398 victory points. So, he will get faction selection here for Game 3. He has chosen to go with the faction that he won with last game, Soviets. And this is actually the first time, I think... Oh no, second time, that CaptainSPrice has gone into Game 3 without switching his faction. In most of his ace games, he switches his faction, but he actually chose Allies here instead of Axis, which is unusual. He has been Axis in almost every single one of his ace games. I'm pretty sure he chose Axis in either chose Axis or was forced into Axis in every one of his ace games. This will be the very first time we've seen CaptainSPrice play as Allies in the ace game. So he will get to play as Soviets on this map. And he goes with Shock Rifle again. Cheese has completely switched up his strategy already, going with Lightning War. And is probably not going to go with 2 tier 3 structures into Stugs. Probably going to see some Tigers this game. MG42 moves into this building. Look at that little maneuver there by CaptainSPrice, preventing any infantry from leaving from this side, I guess. MG42 gets half a burst off on those combat engineers before they round that corner to safety, taking a little bit of damage there. Grenadiers taking control of the central VP. Pyos making their way towards the munitions. CaptainSPrice grabbing the strategic point here. Going with his standard build. Maxim there. Conscripts here in the south. Now, Cheese had really nice early game last game. He played very solid early game. Due to a combination of luck and just really nice play, he was able to take out a lot of CaptainSPrice's full squads of infantry. We saw 2 conscript squads get wiped. We saw a bunch of flamethrowers get popped. Really nice use of the 221/222 by Cheese there. So I don't know. I'm wondering if we're going to see something similar. If Cheese can bring a similar early game, try and shut CaptainSPrice down a little bit, and then bump up his late game with this slightly different Lightning War play. Oh, apparently this side has been wired off too. How did that MG42 even get in then? I guess I don't actually really know what happened. Regardless, Minesweeper has been fielded to clip some of this wire. Oh, it was trapped in there. It couldn't leave. I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying close enough attention to whatever happened to the church. But whatever happened, wire has been clipped. MG42 continues its advance into this building.
The enemy has us ranged! The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Conscripts behind the hedge should win easily against these Minesweeper Pyos. Almost decapped that point, but he decides to disengage a little early.
We have now installed a field hospital at headquarters.
These 2 squads still tied up over here, taking control of the strategic points. Maxim will continue to defend the cutoff. Grenadiers in this house, for some reason. MG42 cannot fire on these squads behind this tiny little bush right here. It's taking a lot of manpower bleed. Decides to close into short range. MG42 rotates to fire, but a nice lucky flame crit right there. Kills the gunner almost immediately. Second model just dropped. Conscript circling around behind to fire on these grenadiers. Only 1 man left remaining. Really nice flame bursts here. And I think we might see that machine gun get stolen. It's going to get out of the house. He should have just let it die. He just handed it over to his opponent with that incredibly late retreat. Should not have done that. Maxim was forced to retreat, gets away with 1 man remaining over here by Grenadiers from the shed with a nice flank, but they'll be screened away by the 2 squads of conscripts here. And already the early game is hugely in CaptainSPrice's favor. Stolen MG42 from the house, no squad wipes yet. That's gonna hurt Cheese a lot.
Fucking flamethrower! Your predecessor died a hero! Supply sector under attack!
Conscripts engaging here on the central victory point will get flushed out by that flamethrower. Wow, really lethal flamethrowers this game. We're seeing a lot of flame crits. A lot of flame crits. Pretty short-lived engagement for those conscripts. They'll be forced to retreat. Minesweeper Pyos in the south taking control of this munitions point. Meanwhile, the cutoff is getting harassed by conscripts there in the north. Grenadiers moving to counter. The Maxim and MG42 are making their way towards the south to push away any harassment attempts and continue to defend this cutoff. Maxim is going to attempt to harass those. Flamethrower Pyos are going to reposition slightly to a more safe location. Both players trying to flame through that building. I don't even know if that works. Doesn't look like it does. And just flamethrowing that building, I guess. I'm pretty sure this doesn't do anything. Neither of them has taken any damage. That building's getting wrecked though, so much for that building, I guess. Maxim setup protecting the cutoff will do some damage to these grenadiers. Flamethrower moves to counter. Rifle grenade on the squad in green cover brings them low, but does not wipe it. Flamethrower standing in the capture circle to delay capture. This much massed infantry here is a problem. Maxim does suppress the flamethrower squad, but grenadiers make it to the flank. Conscripts moving to support in this engagement. Flamethrower might get wiped, falling really low. A lucky crit could seal it. There it is! Lucky crit on the retreating flamethrower pile. Squad gets wiped. Very, very good engagement for CaptainSPrice. Again, wiping that flamethrower squad and again losing nothing. His own flamethrower spam is starting to get a little bit out of control, going to a third squad now. Still has all of his opening infantry squads and the stolen MG42 defending this munitions point from harassment.
Combat engineers are standing by. Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Flamethrower pushing these grenadiers out of cover. 2 crits. Engagement is won easily. Grenadiers retreat late, but should be fine. Grenadiers moving towards the strategic point, trying to get that under control. These 2 squads making their way to the front line to take control of strategic point and victory points. Fresh MG42 has been fielded to try and maintain some territory control here. CaptainSPrice has been doing really well in engagements, but actually hasn't been harassing territory probably as much as he should have. The entire north has been undefended for pretty much the entire game, but he just hasn't found an opening to send any squads up there until now.
Machine gun, open up! We have engineers standing by.
Conscripts taking control of this munitions point. Combat engineers moving to support the entire north, falling into CaptainSPrice's hands now. The MG42 set up in the south will shut down that harassment attempt. Maxim defending against forces moving along this road. Looks like Cheese is going to rotate his efforts towards the north to try to push away this harassment. That flamethrower will be forced to retreat after taking control of the cutoff. No lucky crit right there. Retreats
We are losing territory.
early enough to get that squad away alive. Up to 4 flamethrowers now for CaptainSPrice.
We are taking losses. Engage.
Master Grenadiers in green cover will be able to force away these conscripts. Flamethrower getting inside the house will flush them out of cover though. Ooh, that was a 1 crit. Nothing too bad. They're going to rotate, just a big blob of Grenadiers rotating towards the north fuel point, trying to get some territory under control, trying to win engagements. Upgrading a couple of them with G43s, 1 squad anyway, G43s.
Enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Conscripts barely managed to get the fuel point captured and will retreat to safety. Looks like they're going to get away clean, and these two squads are going to try and get some territory under control here in the north, while these G43s make their way towards the victory point across the road. And Captain Price is taking control of the entire south. Flamethrowers moving up to flush that MG42 out of the building. Not quite in range. Has to get a little closer there. Conscripts moving up on this flank. And another flamethrower is available here as well to support. MG42's fallen to about half. Conscripts move up into really close range to support. Flamethrower taking heavy damage from this Minesweeper Pio squad. MG42 trying to get to safety after taking heavy damage there, and the flamethrowers will retreat. Maxim is moving up to support in this engagement as well. Meanwhile, the Grenadiers mostly still tied up, trying to get some territory back here in the north. Maxim and Combat Engineers taking control of these strategic points. These Combat Engineers are going to take the cutoff, and the Grenadiers are going to be forced to respond to this cutoff maneuver now. No shock troops fielded by Captain Price, starting to float quite a bit of manpower here. Feels quite comfortable in his current infantry army. Doesn't feel a particular need to replace his losses with shock troops since he hasn't really taken any losses. And Cheese has made his way to Tier 2 and fielded some Panzer Grenadiers. No 221 this game. And no Battle Phase 2 research, so probably no Tier 3. He's going to try and float for Tigers, but he is nowhere near the fuel he needs for a Tiger. Not yet anyway. Ooh, that G43 squad got way too close. Way too close, and there's a bunch of stuff in his retreat path. Conscripts moving up to fire. Conscripts in the building can fire on him as he's retreating. Somehow, he might get away. Very lucky Grenadier squad right there. Demo charge on the building should have MG42 choose to get back inside. Another G43 squad making a dangerous retreat here somehow. Making a miraculous escape. Panzer Grenadiers getting suppressed as they try and make their way out of the base. Conscripts in the north taking control of that strategic point.
This now belongs to the people and workers of the Soviet Union.
Conscripts leave the building and retreat to avoid further manpower bleed. Up to almost 900 manpower here from Captain Price, but his standing army is more than enough to maintain full control of this map. If he banks enough resources, I almost think he should probably go Tier 3. I don't think he needs to float this much. If he were to go Tier 3 and field a T-70, he could probably win this game without having to wait for 11 command points. And we've seen him go to Tier 3 before in games that he's winning by a huge margin. This game, I guess he doesn't quite feel comfortable enough to spend the fuel. A lot of demo charges, though, on this map. We could see some really heavy losses by Cheese if he chooses to utilize any buildings. He does have a Minesweeper, though. I think he may be able to spot that. It's because it's on the back half of that building. I don't even know if he'll see it or notice that that's there. But he hasn't thrown any squads inside that building yet. MG42 is still available here in the south to protect against harassment of that munitions point. Conscripts in the middle will be forced to retreat. We'll see Cheese momentarily break his containment here in the north and get some territory back under control, while Captain Price is in his base reinforcing his squads. These three are making their way back towards the cutoff, trying to do some harassment there. No units being placed in buildings. I'm not sure if it's because he spotted the demo charge or simply because he doesn't want to utilize buildings, but either way, Minesweeper Pio Squad gets too close to that demo, will get destroyed. Building goes down as well. Flamethrowers moving up on these G43s will probably force the retreat. In that squad, Panzer Grenadiers on the right side forced to retreat by these two squads of infantry. Those two squads of Grenadiers moving to support, but he wasn't monitoring this engagement. Full squad of Grenadiers with G43s goes down. South Victory Point will get harassed by that squad of Grenadiers, fortunately. Just trying to keep the victory points pretty even here. Still no triple cap, I don't think, being set up at any stage of the game. They almost wipe a flamethrower, but when it retreats, they will also be forced to retreat. Mortar hit on that conscript squad will force the retreat there. And flamethrower with MG42 support will push away. I think this is bugged. I think you can shoot machine guns through this this hedgerow if you have vision on the squads from whatever reason. I think there's some sort of machine gun thing happening here. I don't know if that's a bug or if you're supposed to be able to shoot through that or what, but that's twice in a row now. Seen a Maxim and an MG42 fire through that particular hedgerow on this map. Somebody should test that, figure out what's going on. Mortar firing on those combat engineers on that fuel point. We're going to see a triple cap set up here. Cheese really needs to respond or the victory point bleed is going to start getting very, very fast. Maxim engaging an MG42 with conscripts moving up on the flank.
We are losing a sector.
That's going to be forced to retreat. 3 squads of grenadiers moving up to try to overwhelm this position. MG42 is forced to retreat, however. Conscripts moving into short range, but the Maxim is going to retreat immediately on sight rather than even trying to win this engagement. Conscripts will retreat as well. Big mortar hits going to force retreat from that squad. And 2 squads making their way towards the north are going to try and get this fuel back under control. CaptainSPrice just queued up 3 field guns. I wonder why. No, 4 field guns. Why would you buy 4 field guns? That's a lot of field guns.
The enemy is taking our territory.
He queued up 4 field guns and is now killing the crews with his flamethrowers. I guess he just wants the weapons available in his base, but he doesn't want the pop cap. I don't know. This is some advanced tactics here. I'm not super familiar with this strategy, but okay. Clearing out the field gun crews on these guns in his base to try and keep his manpower low. I mean, he could build caches. It doesn't have to just murder field guns in his own base. Maybe munitions caches. I don't know. Something other than dead field guns. So clears that field gun out. It's got 2 more in his base now. Maxim's going to be forced to retreat by grenadiers here, and this force of infantry is going to shut that harassment attempt down. Get them back into the Ulster base. MG42 moving up into a slightly more aggressive location. He gets inside of a demo charged building. Probably going to see that squad get wiped. I think. I don't know why he wouldn't detonate that. Alright, doesn't detonate the demo charge and the squad gets away. Armor-piercing incendiary rounds on the MG42 there will force a full retreat, apparently, by CaptainSPrice. Wow. Globbing a little too hard, loses him that engagement. Meanwhile, Cheese is taking control of the entire north, getting this munitions and strategic point under control. 2 abandoned field guns here in the 3 abandoned field guns soon in the Soviet base. Very strange. I don't know why he wouldn't go tier 3 or tier 4. If he went tier 4 for a Katyusha before spamming IS-2s, that would be a really nice luxury item to have. Just fire on this blob of infantry and machine gun that his opponent has. Huge fuel lead, or he could go tier 3, get a T-70 for harassment. Instead, he spent thousands of manpower on field guns that he's just abandoning in his base. I don't know why. Very weird. Big rifle grenade hit right there, forces a retreat from those 2 conscript squads. The entire map is falling into Cheese's hands. I don't know what CaptainSPrice is doing here, but it's not working. He has lost the entire map to these Panzer Grenadiers Grenadiers supported by just 2 team weapons. Maxim takes a big mortar hit here, although I think that Grenadier squad might get wiped. Reacts just in time, gets that to safety. More infantry that these flamethrowers need to deal with. Sitting in green cover, and that MG42 will probably suppress this blob of flamers. Forced to retreat. MG42 set up on the flank. Suppresses that MG42 though, and they're going to continue their advancement now. Continue to draw machine gun fire. 4 abandoned field guns just sitting in CaptainSPrice's base, and he has made his way to 11 command points. going to start fielding IS-2s very soon. Meanwhile, over here, still no Battle Phase 2, so I'm thinking just Tigers for the rest of the game. And that Tiger's actually going to hit the field before the IS-2 will, just because of manpower. Captain Price spent all of his manpower on this. I mean, that's...
We are losing a sector.
almost 1,300 manpower. 1,280 manpower spent on field guns. Had a huge lead, and now there's 4 field guns abandoned in his base, so he has plenty of anti-tank available in his base to protect him against this Tiger, but it's extremely expensive to set up, and it delayed his IS-2 significantly. He's going to start taking some pretty heavy infantry losses here to that Tiger as a result. Ooh, catches a Grenadier squad way out of position. That's going to be a dangerous retreat. I don't know if that's going to get away. 2 squads of conscripts in the retreat, only 1 man remaining. Tiger does wipe a conscript squad on the retreat, though.
Infantry squad has been killed.
Full squad of grenadiers wiped. Tiger has yet to receive engine damage from a lucky AT grenade. Takes 2 to the frontal armor. Very minor damage. No engine damage yet. And the Tiger's already got 10 kills, just shooting at conscripts. Flamethrower will engage an MG42 up here, and it probably is going to be forced to retreat. Did not move to make a flanking maneuver fast enough. Will get cleared out. G43 is moving to take some territory here in the south.
Standing by. If there are mines, we'll find them.
Minesweeper upgraded here, and there's the IS-2. Captain Price has to spend a lot of manpower on reinforcement. Probably can't afford to crew these field guns just yet. Uh-oh, we could see engine damage here. Maybe not. Doesn't look like he's going to get in range. Oh, he's making a bad maneuver with that tile. Oh, that didn't connect with the rear armor, though. It, like, curved and hit the frontal armor. So still no engine damage on that Tiger. Meanwhile, Panzerfaust has done some engine damage to the IS-2 over here. And 2 field guns just got crewed here in the Soviet base. Again, I feel like spending all that manpower on 4 field guns has hurt Captain Price a little bit here in the late game. Losing control of the entire map. Obviously, he wanted to prepare for the Tiger, but I don't feel like that was a very efficient way of doing it. He probably should have just bought 2 without decrewing them. He's clearly struggling for manpower now. MG42 gets destroyed. 4 field guns are available to engage. Activates ambush camouflage here. I certainly don't think Shees will be expecting 4 field guns. He hasn't seen a single one the entire game. So this definitely has potential to catch Shees off guard. Their camouflage, they obviously have terrible mobility though, and he's going to have to try to nuance that Tiger in a little bit more, try and bait it. He's not going to take the bait if an IS-2 is scaring him off like that, bringing him down a little dangerously low. IS-2 is going to do some pretty good damage to infantry here, force them to retreat. Flamethrowers are making their way forward to get some repairs done on the IS-2 as well. A couple squads here in the Soviet base still need reinforcement as Captain Price continues to struggle for manpower.
Not let up. The enemy still has 300 points.
What was that?
Brave infantry is dying.
Demo charge in the church wipes the squad. Still another demo charge available right there. Don't think there are any others though. G43 set up here in cover. Firing on those combat engineers. Ooh, Tiger gets a big hit. There's the There's a huge strike from those camoed AT guns. One of them wasn't quite in position, but the Tiger takes a lot of damage just from these two, I think. If only he had moved those up a little more, he might have been able to kill that. Although if this IS-2 makes a big chase, we can see that Tiger go down. Tiger's at only half health right now. Another squad of infantry just got wiped. Big push up here for the north, probably going to succeed. That lone MG is not likely to survive against this push, especially since the gunner just got sniped. Forced to retreat immediately. None of this really gets suppressed. The entire north probably going to fall into Captain Price's hands. Not playing for resources that much here. He is going to try and take this munitions point back, but he skips past the strategic point to go straight for the VPs and start the clock ticking against his opponent once again.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
These 4 field guns just hanging out here in the south, not going to be able to counter the Tiger in the north. We're probably going to see all of these Soviet forces retreat. IS-2 is receiving some repairs here in the south, and he's going to try and destroy that MG-42 to prevent it from being retaken. Field guns just ever so slowly making their way forward. Tiger makes its way to the front line, will force a retreat, wipes one conscript squad, threatens to wipe that Tiger as well. Sending that Tiger this far unsupported. Pretty dangerous though. We know Captain Price doesn't like mines that much, but at this stage of the game they're a threat even against him. He's got 130 munitions in the bank. We could definitely start seeing a bunch of mines thrown down now that the Tiger is a serious concern. Field guns are set up protecting this road for now. IS-2 has been fully repaired. Some reinforcements happening here in the base. Only one squad of conscripts remains of the original 3. The Maxim's still alive, and 3 of the 4 flamethrower squads are still alive, so 3 squads of infantry wiped for Captain Price, but other than that, nothing too serious. We've seen a lot of Ulster squads wiped. Lots of losses have been replaced. Demo charge going down here. Clock's going to start ticking against cheese slowly. No sign of a triple cap being set up yet. Captain Price wants to get that second IS-2 on the field before he does anything very aggressive. It's taking a long time for him to get the manpower, but it's going to happen within the next minute.
The enemy is gaining a...
There's another squad wipe. Full squad of Grenadiers gets gibbed on that demo charge. Panzer Grenadiers moving to try and take the point instead. Here in the north, MG-42 still supported by the Tiger, and one AT gun trying to get that victory point under control. Couple squads reinforcing here. Panzer Grenadiers want to get a triple cap going again. Not likely to succeed though. I don't know why he would even attempt this. Definitely needs to retreat from that IS-2. Tiger moves to engage the IS-2. 2 IS-2s though. That's way too much for that Tiger to take on. The field guns fortunately are way over here. Probably will get screened by these infantry, at least for now. Stuka close air support comes in on these IS-2s. Both of them actually getting momentarily cruise shocked here, but the Tiger's falling dangerously low. There's another cruise shock. Well, I don't know where this one's even going. That was a weird maneuver. Anti-tank gun with Tiger support is really going to push these away. Why? That Tiger is so close to death. I guess he doesn't want to remain in the strike zone of Stuka close air support for too long, but that Tiger's being way too aggressive here. There's the second pass. Very nearly destroys this IS-2. It needs to get clear of the strike zone immediately. Anti-tank gun fire also dealing heavy damage. I feel like that Tiger's getting a little bit lucky here. Those IS-2s need to get clear of the strike zone, which ends somewhere right here. So they're definitely clear. They're definitely clear of the strike zone with the AT gun and Tiger arm moving up. That shot just bounced. Full squad of infantry wiped. Tiger has a damaged engine. Full IS-2 goes down. Tiger also goes down. As long as this IS-2 remains hidden behind this building, the anti-tank gun cannot destroy it. Well, I would say Cheese traded about as well as he could have hoped to during that, taking out an IS-2, also losing his Tiger. Honestly, he probably could have saved his Tiger. I don't know why he was being so aggressive right there. Stuka close air support really helps turn that engagement in his favor, but there's now an IS-2 on the field and no Tiger on the field. Cheese has a lot of fuel in the bank, but no manpower. CaptainSPrice, not as much fuel in the bank, also no manpower. But Cheese has the entire map. CaptainSPrice just can't get territory back. He really needs to make something happen now that he's had an opening here, and he needs to try to improve his usage of these 4 AT guns that haven't even done anything. There's really no excuse for losing an IS-2. When he had 2 IS-2s and 4 field guns against 1 pack and 1 Tiger, and he still managed to lose that IS-2. I know that Stuka close air support was supporting in that engagement, but those field guns were just terribly positioned for that. He really needs to step things up a little bit here. He's falling way behind. He's only got 150 victory points left. His opponent has a huge lead on him, and there's no excuse for that considering how the early game went. Green cover just got destroyed here in the center. AT gun is set up to screen a little bit against that IS-2. Target weak point. Penetrates, bringing it down a little low. Engagement for the south. Going sort of okay. KV-8 has been deployed down here. Maxim should be able to get that victory point under control.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
CaptainSPrice just doesn't have that much infantry on the field. Not that much anti-infantry capability, although this KV-8 is an extremely serious problem for Cheese to deal with. Fortunately, he will have another Tiger on the field very soon, and of course, IS-2 gets repaired very quickly with this quantity of combat engineers, fielding himself a 4th squad now. Field guns move back to try and get some of this territory under control, and the KV-8 is moving to engage here in the center. Not a whole lot that can stand in its way, except of course for that pack. Activates target weak point again. Does not fire though. Does not fire in time. That target weak point shot just went to waste. IS-2 moving up to clear out some infantry as well. That was a lot of munitions to accomplish nothing right there. And I think we're going to see that AT gun cleared. I think CaptainSPrice finally making a little progress here, getting the game back under his control. With that anti-tank gun cleared, that Tiger is going to be unsupported when it arrives. Center victory point being taken. The Maxim in the south, however, is going to get forced to retreat. 4 field guns set up right here to counter the Tiger when it does arrive. Mortar team also just got annihilated. Surprised he's not destroying. Oh, I think he will. I think IS-2 is going to stick around and try and destroy these weapons. In fact, they're close enough together that he might destroy them both in 2 shots. Yes, he does. Pack and mortar both destroyed. Demo charge goes down on the VP. Tiger rolling towards the center now. KV-8 moving to do counter harassment here in the south. A couple squads reinforcing in the Soviet base, and with these 4 field guns set up right here to counter that, Tiger's not going to be able to do anything. He's about to drive that Tiger right into 4 field guns.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Huge damage. Demo charge wipes a squad of infantry. That Tiger's screwed. Dies immediately to that AT gun wall. CaptainSPrice spent 34 minutes setting this up. And finally it works and does something, and he ambushes a Tiger and it's destroyed. Of course, all infantry had also been completely wiped out as well. Weird game 3. Very strange play from CaptainSPrice. Cheese went with a much more standard play, but he just could not beat CaptainSPrice's early game this game. Early game went much better for CaptainSPrice. It almost looked like he might take it towards the end if CaptainSPrice didn't get his head back in the game, but just wasn't able to make it work. And demo charges, of course, wiped so many squads of infantry. Kind of the silent killer of this game. That infantry armor just getting smaller and smaller and smaller as the game progressed. So, good game. Axis wins.